The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not mandate the installation of lights on rooftop air conditioning units. However, it is crucial to understand that local codes and regulations can and often do impose additional requirements beyond what is outlined in the NEC. These local ordinances are legally binding within their specific jurisdictions, and compliance is mandatory. To determine whether lights are required on rooftop air conditioning units in a specific location, the primary step is to consult the local building department or the authority having jurisdiction, often abbreviated as AHJ. This local authority is responsible for enforcing building and electrical codes within that area. They will have the most up-to-date information on any specific requirements pertaining to rooftop equipment, including air conditioning units. When contacting the local building department, it is important to be specific about the type of equipment being installed, its location, and any other relevant details. This will help the building officials provide accurate and relevant information. It is also advisable to request documentation of any local code requirements, such as written regulations or guidelines. This documentation will serve as a reference point and can help ensure compliance with all applicable rules. The NEC serves as a comprehensive guideline for safe electrical installations, but it is not the final word on all electrical matters. Local jurisdictions have the authority to amend or supplement the NEC to address specific local conditions or concerns. This is why it is essential to check with the local building department to determine if any local codes or regulations apply in addition to the NEC requirements. Furthermore, even if local codes do not specifically require lights on rooftop air conditioning units, there may be other applicable regulations that indirectly affect lighting requirements. For example, some jurisdictions may have general lighting requirements for all rooftop equipment or for equipment located in certain areas. These general requirements could potentially apply to rooftop air conditioning units, even if there is no specific requirement for lights on those units. In addition to checking with the local building department, it may also be helpful to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer who is familiar with local codes and regulations. These professionals can provide expert guidance on electrical installations and can help ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. They can also assist with the design and installation of lighting systems that meet both the NEC requirements and any local code requirements. It is important to remember that compliance with electrical codes is essential for ensuring the safety of people and property. Non-compliance can result in fines, penalties, and potentially dangerous electrical hazards. Therefore, it is always best to err on the side of caution and to consult with the appropriate authorities to ensure that all electrical installations are in accordance with applicable codes and regulations. In summary, while the NEC does not mandate lights on rooftop air conditioning units, local codes may require it. The best way to determine the specific requirements for a particular location is to consult with the local building department and to seek guidance from qualified electrical professionals. Remember that electrical codes are constantly evolving, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. Regularly reviewing the NEC and any local code amendments can help ensure that all electrical installations are in compliance with current standards. Furthermore, when dealing with electrical installations, it is always advisable to follow best practices for safety and quality. This includes using high-quality materials, following manufacturer's instructions, and properly testing all installations before energizing them. By following these best practices, you can help ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and local codes are often updated on a similar schedule. Staying informed about these updates is essential for maintaining compliance with the latest requirements. There are several resources available for staying up to date on electrical codes, including the NEC Handbook, online training courses, and industry publications. It is also important to note that the specific requirements for rooftop lighting may vary depending on the type of air conditioning unit being installed. For example, some units may require lights for maintenance or service purposes, while others may not. The manufacturer's instructions for the air conditioning unit should provide information on any specific lighting requirement. In addition to local codes and the NEC, there may be other applicable standards or guidelines that address rooftop lighting. For example, some energy efficiency programs may promote the use of energy-efficient lighting on rooftops to reduce energy consumption. These programs may offer incentives or rebates for installing energy-efficient lighting systems. When designing and installing rooftop lighting, it is important to consider the potential impact on the surrounding environment. Light pollution can be a concern in some areas, so it is important to use lighting fixtures that are properly shielded and directed to minimize light trespass. It is also important to consider the impact of lighting on wildlife, such as birds and bats. Some lighting fixtures can attract wildlife and disrupt their natural behavior. Therefore, it is important to use lighting fixtures that are designed to minimize these impacts. Furthermore, when installing rooftop lighting, it is important to ensure that the lighting fixtures are properly grounded and protected from the elements. Rooftop environments can be harsh, with exposure to sunlight, rain, wind, and temperature extremes. Therefore, it is important to use lighting fixtures that are specifically designed for outdoor use and that are able to withstand these conditions. In addition to checking with the local building department, it may also be helpful to consult with the local utility company to determine if there are any specific requirements for rooftop lighting. Some utility companies may have regulations regarding the connection of lighting systems to the electrical grid. These regulations may address issues such as power quality, safety, and energy efficiency. Finally, it is important to remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it should only be performed by qualified professionals. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a licensed electrician to handle the installation of rooftop lighting. Trying to perform electrical work yourself without the proper training and experience can be hazardous and can potentially lead to serious injury or property damage. The NEC Article 210.8 discusses ground fault circuits interrupter protection for personnel. While this article doesn't specifically call out rooftop air conditioning units, it is important to review this article to determine if any of the general requirements apply. For example, if the air conditioning unit is located in an area where there is a potential for water exposure, ground fault circuit interrupter protection may be required. Also, NEC Article 440 covers air conditioning and refrigeration equipment. Although this article primarily deals with the electrical requirements for the equipment itself, it is still important to review this article to ensure that the installation meets all applicable requirements. The NEC Section 110.3b states that listed or labeled equipment shall be installed and used in accordance with any instructions included in the listing or labeling. This means that you should always follow the manufacturer's instructions when installing electrical equipment, including rooftop air conditioning units and lighting fixtures. Furthermore, the NEC Article 314 covers outlet boxes, conduit bodies, and handhole enclosures. This article provides requirements for the installation of these components, which are often used in rooftop lighting systems. The NEC Section 314.27e specifically addresses outlet boxes used as a support for ceiling suspended fans. While this section does not directly apply to rooftop lighting, it provides useful information on the requirements for supporting electrical equipment from outlet boxes. It is also important to consider the accessibility of rooftop lighting for maintenance and repair. The NEC Section 110.26 provides requirements for working space around electrical equipment. This section requires that there be sufficient space around electrical equipment to allow for safe and easy access for maintenance and repair. When installing rooftop lighting, it is important to ensure that there is adequate working space around the lighting fixtures to allow for safe and easy maintenance. In addition to the NEC, there may be other applicable standards or guidelines that address rooftop lighting. For example, the Illuminating Engineering Society, or WISE, publishes recommended practices for lighting design. These recommended practices provide guidance on the selection, placement, and control of lighting fixtures. When designing rooftop lighting, it is helpful to consult the IES recommended practices to ensure that the lighting system meets the needs of the application. The NEC Section 225 covers outside branch circuits and feeders. This article provides requirements for the installation of electrical wiring that runs outside of buildings, including wiring that is used to supply power to rooftop lighting. The NEC section 225.30 provides requirements for the number of feeders or branch circuits required for a building or other structure. This section requires that the number of feeders or branch circuits be sufficient to supply the connected load. When designing rooftop lighting, it is important to calculate the connected load and to ensure that the existing electrical system has sufficient capacity to supply the load. Finally, it is important to remember that electrical codes are constantly evolving, and it is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and local codes are often updated on a similar schedule. Staying informed about these updates is essential for maintaining compliance with the latest requirements. In conclusion, while the NEC does not mandate lights on rooftop air conditioning units, local codes may require it. The best way to determine the specific requirements for a particular location is to consult with the local building department and to seek guidance from qualified electrical professionals. Remember that electrical codes are constantly evolving, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. Firstly, determine if the local codes require lighting. Secondly, consult with a qualified professional. Thirdly, ensure compliance with NEC standards and local amendments.